Hello everyone, thank you so much for joining me. My name is Mariano Cicciarelli. Welcome to my fourth video, if I'm not wrong, of my Making a Techno Track series. Today we're going to be looking at working on one of the bass guitars of my track Moment. You'll be able to download this track for free following the link in the description below. Today I think it's probably going to be a short video as well. At least I'm gonna try to do so. Last week, or a couple of weeks ago, I uploaded a video about working on the bass line and how I built it. There's a few tricks, or there are a few tricks about recording and how to beat match the samples that you record. So check it out. I think you can get at least a few tips out of it. That'd be really cool. Anyway, let's jump right into it. So I'm gonna play just a little bit of the track so that you can hear it again. We're gonna be focusing on this line. I'm gonna highlight it in blue, let's say, just for the sake of it, and we're gonna be paying attention mainly more than the EQing and the compression, because we've seen a little bit of that as well. I want to focus a bit more on how you can create different textures using a simple effect like the delay. Also, I think this is going to be a really good video to showcase a bit of what Rhythmic can do. I'm absolutely in love with this plugin, and I think it's definitely worth it for you to invest in it, because it's endless. It's absolutely endless, the amount of different sounds that you can put together, different cabinets, different effects, and so on. I think it's definitely worth the investment. So anyway, excuse me, I got something on my mind. Anyway, let me just play a couple of seconds for you so that you can I'm gonna play actually the beginning so that you know how it sounds, how it sits on the track, and then a bit more on the main part of the track again to see how it fits, and you will see that I'm trying to create a different ambience, a different texture on every section, and it changes completely how the actual guitar sounds. It actually, the delay makes it sound like I'm playing a different thing, but I'm actually only using a little loop over and over again, but with a delay it changes a lot, and it really helps the track, at least in my view. So here it goes from the beginning. Very simple riff. Now here it goes with everything. Feels sort of draggy, kind of slow, almost like it's pulling back the song. At this point you can start feeling a bit of texture in the background. And I'm automating this. I'm gonna show you how to do it now. And now it almost sounds like the guitar being played is completely different to what it was at the beginning, even though it's just a simple effect. And now this gives a feeling of speed to the track, even though it's still the same riff, it's still quite draggy and slow. The fact that now with the delay it sounds like it's feeling those 16ths, it definitely feels quicker. It feels like it's speeding up the track. Okay. So this is very simple to do. It's just an automation. To automate something means that you're basically preloading a few points on the arrangement view for Ableton to tweak those presets, those parameters. I should say those parameters for you at that time, rather than just doing it yourself. Then it means it's as the word says, as the title says, is automated. So to do so is very simple. You just need to select the parameter that you want to automate. Let's say in this case I'm just gonna grab the gain, so that I don't get into guitar rig at the moment. So let's say I want this to have a fade in, which already has at the moment, but let's say I'm actually gonna duplicate this one. I'm gonna turn that one off. To duplicate something, you can click Control or Command and the letter D, and that will duplicate whatever is highlighted. In this case, I had selected a track, so if I hit Control or Command D, you'll duplicate that track. But if you select a clip, a sound clip, and you click Control or Command D, you'll duplicate a clip as well. You can duplicate a set of clips as well. It doesn't have to be just one, and you can do the same with tracks. You can select many tracks and duplicate them. So yeah, I'm gonna turn that one off so that I can freely edit this one, and then I can just delete it and not worry about it, because at the end of the day this is my original mix and I don't want to really be playing around with it a lot. Okay, so let's say there's no automation whatsoever. Whenever a channel, whenever a parameter doesn't have any automation in it, you'll be able to see this orange line, orange dotted line. But whenever something has got an automation, you'll see a full line with the same color, and you'll be able to see those points, which are the ones that lead the automation. So let's say I want to do a fade in for this guitar, so I select the gain. You can do either on a utility effect, or you could do it on the main volume of the channel. However, I wouldn't recommend doing it on the main volume of the channel, because those are the volumes that you use to mix at the end of the track. So whenever you've got all the automation put together, then you can go and mix all the levels so that you make sure that all the elements in the track sound perfectly. We're going to do a mixing session later on anyway, so we'll go into more detail about it. Let's say I want to automate the gain, so I select that parameter, and I make sure I'm standing on the right track actually. So there you go. I clicked first on the channel that I wanted to edit, then on the parameter that I want to edit, and then for me it's pretty simple, or the best way. You could do either way. You could select, let's say I want at this point for the volume to be at 0, which means with no variation, exactly as it is, so as it comes out of the channel. Yep. So I want the volume of this channel, of this instrument, to be at 0 at this point. So I want to come from, let's say, minus. I wouldn't normally recommend to use at the beginning of the track anything less than minus 12, and that could actually be quite low. You can do further into the tracks things like going from minus 20 or minus 25, just so that you make sure that the transition or the fade in is very, very, very subtle, and you don't actually, you're basically tricking people into thinking that element was there all the time, and they didn't realize when it just started. However, again, at the beginning I wouldn't normally recommend doing so. So what I would do is to go from minus 12 to 0, and then now it's automated because there's two notes, one there in minus 12, the other one is in 0. So if we play this, it should fade in, and you will see how the parameter moves on its own following the automation that we just created. Yep. Okay, so that's one way you can do it. What I normally do though, because usually more, it's a tidier way of doing it. You can right click on it and delete automation. So, and that will clear all the automation for that parameter on the entire channel. So not only the one that you've just done, but all the automation on that channel for that parameter. So the tidier way that I usually do this is by selecting the whole range of clips that I want this automation to run for, and then you move the mouse to closer to the line, to the automation line, to a point where the line turns yellow, and then that means that you can click on it, and whatever you do, it will modify the entire line, and from the exact beginning to the exact end of those clips that you selected. That means we're doing it in a more precise way, and we're making sure that, for example, let's see if we can get into more detail. I'm making sure that I haven't clicked somewhere like that. So by the time this has to sound in full volume, this means it won't be doing so. However, as I selected the range and I edited the entire range at the same time, it will be precise, and it will only modify from the beginning of that clip until the end of that one. So now it's pretty easy because that node is there already. What I have to do is just click on this one, which means the automation will go from this node to this one, and now I can simply click on that one and go to the volume I want. A little trick here also, if you, while dragging up and down with your mouse, you click the control or the command key, you press, actually you don't click on it, but anyway, you get what I mean. If you press on the command or the control key, you'll be able to precisely adjust that parameter. So for example, without doing it, I can move quite quickly from one end to the other one. However, there are some times where I can't go from, you see, I'm going from 212 directly into 1 or 0, which is very annoying if I want to be super precise. For example, now I want to go to 0. The best way of doing it is by pressing the command key or the control key, and then while holding it pressed, you drag down and you can see that you get the precision that you need, and I can go to 0. But actually now, because we're doing a fade in, I can go to -7 or so, and that should be okay. So then you play it, and that's your automation done. Which obviously at the moment is very difficult to feel the difference because there's no other elements to compare it with. But the fade in is happening. You can actually see on the gain control. And also I'm talking all over it, so okay. So the same concept of automation applies to any parameter inside Ableton. So anything that you can click on, or I should say most of anything that you can click on, you can actually automate, which creates a whole new world of opportunities to modify your music, to create. Because if you get one sound, and it's pretty much the same concept, the same thing as I was talking about before, if you get one sound and you can automate and you can turn on and off different effects throughout the song, so that it's not only just one element repeating itself, it's one element changing and morphing and telling a story with different effects, then your track will start becoming much more complex, and it'll start having more texture in it, and it'll be more interesting. So sometimes something that happens, let's say I just created an automation, but then I want to click on something that is already automated. Let's say I click on this one again, and without wanting to do so, I just move it for a little bit. You can see that the automation node now turned gray, and the automation line turned gray as well. That means with the change that I just did, I'm overriding the automation, and if you want to go back to that, you just have to click on this little arrow at the top, and now the automation is back on. Okay, so now to the delay and to the little effect that I was creating. I noticed that in my previous video I couldn't, the guitar rig plugin didn't show up, and that's because I was grabbing Ableton's window, Ableton's window, but guitar rig opens on a new window, so that's why I didn't pick it up. But now it's hopefully working, and I think it is. So what I've got here, I grabbed an Andy in a bottle plugin, which I really like playing around with, and then I just played around with all the parameters here. You can go ahead and spend hours and hours and hours and hours by tweaking the elements that you can find in here. Usually I can find something that I really like on the presets, and I don't really have to go into the depth of building my own plugins, mainly because I do use guitars, and this program is built for guitars, but I'm not a guitar player, so I don't need anything that complex. I can manage to create really cool sounds with just a bit of effects, a few effects inside guitar rig, and then you can just tweak everything around outside with a compressor, with the queuing, and other things. So something what I want to get your attention on now is on the quad delay that I'm using. That it comes on default as a default on this preset in particular. So what I'm doing in this case is playing with the time, with the feedback, the rate, the depth, and the dry and wet. But mainly, once that I found exactly the sound that I want with the time of the delay and the feedback, the only thing that I'm gonna play around on this track is with the dry and wet, which is what is gonna make that huge difference from the beginning of the song, when the guitar sounds really dry and draggy, to then when it goes to the main part where it sounds like it's almost like I'm doubling up with the notes that I'm playing when I'm actually not. So another couple of tricks that I can give you here to automate plugins, because obviously, as I said before, whenever I click on something, you'll pull up the automation line on that channel, and it will allow me to edit it. However, let's say I want to edit the time, right? It will show me the automation line here, and I can actually automate it. Boom, and it's done. And then something that it will do is to add it here together with the other parameters that have been edited as well, or automated as well. So now I don't even have to open the plugin. I can just come here and edit the different parameters from here, which makes it really useful. Okay, so I'm gonna just go ahead and delete this automation. But the other way of doing it, if I want, I can click on configure, which will bring up the plugin, and then I can click on all the elements that I want to automate. In this case, I'm not using it, but in several times, and probably will be able to see it in one of the other channels in another video. I'm using several of them. So let's say I want to edit the dry, which is already there. I want to edit the time, which is already there. and the feedback, the rate, the depth, and I even want to edit when this is on and off. There you go. So now I've got all the parameters, and I only had to go into the plugin only one time. Then it's done. I go out of the configure, I close this, and now I can just proceed to edit all the automations for these parameters that I selected. So I'm going to turn the automation again, and as I said before, excuse me, we're gonna mainly focus on the delay and the dry and wet, because this is, to me, one of the main elements of the track, and one of the main elements that actually make to the story of the track, because of that exact feeling that I was describing before, which is first is it's draggy and it's low, and then and dry in a way. As my throat, it seems. Excuse me, I'm gonna okay, so we want to go from here, which is pretty dry. I'm soloing the track, by the way, just so that we can hear only this element and nothing else. Yep, and I want to go. You can see the wet parameter, which is going higher and higher, and I'm going to show you another trick right now. Which is to give this shape to the line. What happened here is that I was playing around with the parameters and I changed something. I must have changed something, because this one I definitely changed one of the parameters, which is, let's see, feedback looks okay. Yep, I turned it off, that's why. There you go. That was the problem. Cool. So now back again. Let's click on the automation that we're looking at, and now it will definitely make more sense. But anyway, before actually doing that, I want to show you. You see, as I created before, the automation for the gain level, it was a straight line. But for some things, like effects, for volume, I really don't mind straight lines, but in many cases the effects, I really like the curve that you can give to those lines, so that is a more human feeling. It's more like turning up or down on a knob. So I actually want to feel that that kind of human touch that you actually can't get, because this is not a human playing, you're doing it on a computer, but you can actually try to mimic it as much as you can. So what you do, let's go to the delay, and let's say this doesn't exist, so I'm gonna click on it so that it gets deleted, and I think there are actually two of them. Yeah, there you go. So that's just one. Okay, so that's pretty easy to do. You click, or you can do this as well, whatever option you like the most. I like that one. So if I delete this one, then it's gonna be a straight line again. So how do we shape that into a curve? we press the Alt key, and when we go closer to the line, it'll turn yellow, and you'll be able actually to see a little curve right next to the mouse. So while pressing the Alt key on both Mac and Windows, and then clicking on it and dragging, you can make it really steep, or you can make it very subtle. In this case, I'm gonna go there, which is pretty much what it was done before, and I want to go from very dry to very wet. There you go. And now let's see how that sounds. You can start noticing it now. And more. And now it's when it starts really having more presence. Feels like a completely different guitar from now to what it was. And now with more that the compression kicked in. And there you go. So now we've basically created two different guitars out of just one simple loop, which makes to the story of the track. You've got two completely different textures. You're telling a story, and you can go up and down, you can play around, you can make it even way more complex than that. Just because I'm using loads of elements, I'm trying to keep it simple, because there's already a lot going on this track. There's some vocals going on, there's several lines of vocals going on. There are other two guitars, there's a bass line, there's loads and loads happening, and that's why I'm keeping it simple with this channel. I think that should be it for today. I'm trying to keep this video shorter so that I can make it easier for you, and try to give you just a few tips here and there, and I'm also trying to make the videos not only about the element in particular that I'm working on, but also about those little tips, like how to shape the lines, how to make an automation, how to use an effect, and things like that. So please do let me know if you enjoyed the video, or if you didn't, what can I do to make it better, what kind of element would you like to see next, or if you want to go into more details into any of the elements that I'm using on this video, on the previous videos. So I appreciate you for watching until here. I know it must be annoying to hear my really particular and strong accent. I do apologize for my mistakes. If you did like the video, please give it a like, subscribe, and share if you can. That would be very, very much appreciated. Once again, thank you so much. My name is Mariano Cicciarelli, and see you next time.